Paul McCartney has written hundreds of songs, sold over 100 million records, and helped define what modern popular music sounds like. But even for someone who helped change music forever, a simple question still carries enormous weight. Which Beatles songs mean the most to him? At 80 years old, Paul McCartney finally spoke openly about the 5 Beatles songs closest to his heart, not the biggest hits, not the most praised by critics, but the ones that still feel personal to him. These choices reveal memory, emotion, friendship, and loss, and they tell us as much about Paul McCartney the man as Paul McCartney the songwriter. 5. Here, There, and Everywhere, 1966. This song holds a special place in Paul McCartney's heart. Written during the Revolver sessions, Here, There and Everywhere was Paul's attempt to write something deeply personal and emotionally honest. He has often described it as one of the purest love songs he ever wrote. What Paul loves about this track is its simplicity. There's no excess. No showing off. Just melody, vulnerability, and emotional clarity. He has said that this song represents him at his most sincere, a moment when songwriting wasn't about being clever, but about being true. 4. Blackbird, 1968. Blackbird may sound gentle, but its meaning runs deep. Paul wrote the song during a time of political and social unrest, inspired by the civil rights movement in the United States. To him, it was about hope, change, and finding strength during difficult times. Paul has said he loves Blackbird because it shows how music can carry a message without shouting. The finger-picking guitar part, the quiet vocal, the space between the notes, everything serves the emotion. At 80, Paul still performs this song regularly, which tells you everything about how much it means to him. 3. Eleanor Rigby, 1966. This song marked a turning point. Paul has often said that Eleanor Rigby proved to him that the Beatles could move beyond love songs and write about real people and real loneliness. No guitars. No drums. Just strings and stark storytelling. Paul admires this song because it showed growth, both as a writer and as a band. He has mentioned that writing about isolation and forgotten lives felt risky at the time, but it changed how he thought about what pop music could do. Even decades later, Paul sees Eleanor Rigby as one of the Beatles' most important creative leaps. 2. Let It Be, 1970. Few Beatles songs are as personal as Let It Be. Paul wrote it during one of the most stressful periods of his life, when the Beatles were falling apart and the future felt uncertain. The inspiration came from a dream about his mother, Mary, who died when Paul was just a teenager. In the dream, she appeared calm and reassuring, telling him everything would be okay. Paul has said that's why this song still affects him emotionally. It wasn't written to be profound, it became profound because it came from grief, comfort, and memory. To him, Let It Be is not just a Beatles song, it's a message that carried him through loss. 1. Yesterday, 1965. Paul McCartney's number one choice surprises no one, but for reasons people often misunderstand. Yesterday came to him fully formed in a dream, something that still amazes him to this day. At first, he thought he must have heard it somewhere before. But when he realized it was original, he knew something special had happened. Paul has said this song represents a moment where songwriting felt magical, effortless, emotional, and timeless. What makes Yesterday his favorite isn't its success. It's the mystery behind it. Even after playing it thousands of times, Paul says he still doesn't fully understand where it came from, and he likes that. What these songs reveal about Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney's favorite Beatles songs aren't about power or rebellion. They're about vulnerability, reflection, love and loss, quiet emotional truth. At 80, Paul doesn't choose songs that made him famous. He chooses songs that still feel alive to him. The Beatles changed music forever, but for Paul McCartney, the songs that matter most are the ones tied to memory, emotion, and human connection. That's why these 5 still matter. And that's why they always will. Do you agree with Paul McCartney's choices? Which Beatles song means the most to you? Leave a comment, hit like, and subscribe for more timeless rock stories and legendary music moments.